What's going on, YouTube? Listen up, young elder gang. This is Dr. Charles P. Winston at you with another banger. Please make sure you like, subscribe and share this video, fam. I hope this video get at least 100,000 likes. In this video, you will find history, definitions, scripture, information, and best of all, what we Americans have been deprived of from the beginning, the truth. Keep in mind, this content used in this video is intended for entertainment, educational and informational purposes only. We will give you the total truth, as we best understand it today. Be sure to hit that like button, young elder gang. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit that bell and don't forget to check back with us every day for new content. All right, let's get started. Arius used the literary pseudonym of Flavius. It was not because of his alleged but untrue and hardly necessary adoption by Emperor Flavius Vespasian. He was in fact a true Flavian. The Flavian are the Flugelrods, Jakub-drafted beings. They were drafted out of dark-skinned Hindus. Flavianus comes from the Roman name Flavius, which was borne by members of a particular Roman gens. Flavian means yellow hair or blonde. It comes from the Latin word flavus. Watch now. In ancient times, fair hair was considered a sign of distinction and beauty to the Roman, but was a curse from God, according to the Bible. Leviticus chapter 13, verse 30. Then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scall, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. Piso humorously used the three basic consonants of the Flavians' Sabonis name SBN in revised sequences for some of his fictional literary identities. Arius Piso used his alchemy skill of rearranging consonants. Consonants are letters of the alphabet that are not vowels. Examples of consonants include B, C, D, F, and G. This is to encode the texts, so they could laugh at the masses who misinterpret it. Marcus Antonius Primus was a pseudonym of Arius Piso. Marcus Antonius Primus, born between 20 AD and 35 AD, died after 81 AD, was a senator and general of the Roman Empire. Primus was born at Tolosa, Toulouse, in Gaul. Possibly he was descended from Gauls who had been enfranchised by Mark Antony during his Gallic campaign. Kenneth Wellesley wrote that he was nicknamed Beckus, Beaky, likely due to his physique. This is yet another alter ego of Piso himself in the mid-50s CE. While in his late teens, young Piso was a prefect of a cohort of legionnaires in the campaign against Vologes, king of Armenia, serving there in Tacitus. Josephus's life was a study in contrasts, marked by both remarkable achievements and stinging accusations. He was a scholar fluent in Hebrew, Aramaic and Greek, a historian who meticulously documented Jewish history and the events of the First Jewish-Roman War, and a military commander thrust into a leadership role as Jewish resistance against Roman rule ignited. He was well versed in crafting a storyline for his people to tie themselves into the vine. Yet despite his accomplishments, he remains a controversial figure, his name forever linked with the fall of Jerusalem and the destruction of the Second Temple. His critics brand him a traitor, pointing to his decision to surrender to the Roman general Vespasian during the siege of Jotapata. They argue that he readily exchanged loyalty to his people for a life of privilege under Roman patronage, ultimately taking the name of his former enemy, Flavius, as his own. However, Josephus's defenders argue that his actions were driven by pragmatism and a desire to preserve Jewish life and culture in the face of overwhelming Roman might. Josephus's literary works, penned under Roman patronage, have become essential sources for understanding Jewish history, culture, and the tumultuous events of the 1st century CE. His detailed accounts of Jewish customs, religious practices, and the escalating tensions with Rome offer invaluable insights into a world on the brink of cataclysmic change. His most famous work, The Jewish War, provides a gripping first-hand account of the Jewish revolt against Roman rule, culminating in the destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple in 70 CE. In this work, Josephus recounts the horrors of the siege, the bravery of the Jewish defenders, and the ultimate futility of their struggle against the Roman war machine. While the Jewish war focuses on the military and political aspects of the conflict, his later work, Antiquities of the Jews, offers a comprehensive history of the Jewish people from their origins to his own time. Josephus secretly authored the New Testament to appease Rome and undermine the real Jewish resistance and steal the earthborn birthrights to the land. The Piso rewrote history to spell caste, and Josephus was a master manipulator. A master manipulator is someone who uses manipulative tactics to control others. They may have a cynical worldview and disregard conventional morality. Like we said, the enigmatic Piso family are a powerful Roman clan with deep ties to Judea. According to proponents of this view, Josephus, far from being a detached observer of history, was deeply embedded in the Piso family's machinations, serving as a key player in their ambitious scheme to create a new religion that would pacify the rebellious Jews and solidify Roman control over the region. The Piso family's connection to Judea stemmed from the marriage of Arria, the great-granddaughter of Herod the Great, to Gaius Calpurnius Piso, a prominent Roman statesman. This familial link placed the Pisos in a unique position to influence events in Judea, and some researchers believe they sought to exploit this connection to further their own political and economic interests. They believed that by creating a new religion, one that incorporated elements of Judaism but ultimately preached submission to Roman authority, they could effectively neutralize Jewish resistance and secure their own power. Advocates of the Josephus authorship theory point to a number of intriguing clues embedded within the New Testament text itself, suggesting a hidden hand at work, subtly weaving a narrative that aligns with Roman interests. They argue that the portrayal of certain events, the emphasis on specific themes, and even the linguistic style of the New Testament betrays the influence of a Roman-educated scholar intimately familiar with Jewish culture, a description that fits Josephus perfectly. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence, according to proponents of this theory, is the striking similarity between certain passages in Josephus's historical writings and accounts found in the Gospels. They argue that these parallels, too numerous and specific to be mere coincidence, suggest that the New Testament authors drew heavily upon Josephus's work, either directly plagiarizing his text or using it as a template for their own narratives. For example, Josephus's detailed description of the siege of Jotapata, where he himself surrendered to Vespasian, bears a remarkable resemblance to the so-called account of Jesus' crucifixion in the Gospels. Imagine, if you will, the Roman elite, draped in fine togas, gathering in opulent villas, their whispers echoing with ambition and a hint of desperation. The year is 60 CE, and the Piso family, facing the dual threat of Jewish unrest and the allure of Judaism among their own citizens, hatches a daring plan to engineer a new religion. Their goal? To quell the Jewish spirit of rebellion, not with brute force, but with a far more insidious weapon, faith. They envisioned a faith that would borrow the moral framework of Judaism, yet subtly warp its message to preach compliance, not defiance, a faith tailored for Roman consumption, palatable to their own citizens, while effectively neutering the Jewish threat. Josephus's role in the Pisonian plot. Enter Titus Flavius Josephus, a young Canaanite Jewish scholar thrust into the crucible of the Jewish-Roman conflict. Imagine him torn between his loyalty to his people and the allure of Roman patronage, caught in the intricate web of the Piso family's machinations. Was he a willing accomplice in their scheme, a cunning wordsmith tasked with shaping the narrative of a new religion? Or was he an unwitting pawn, manipulated by forces beyond his control? According to proponents of this theory, Josephus's relationship with the Piso family ran far deeper than mere patronage. They posit that Josephus, whether out of ambition, fear, or a misguided belief in the necessity of Roman rule, agreed to use his knowledge to help shape the narrative of the New Testament. A family affair unraveling the identities of the Gospel writers. The traditional view of the Gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as humble fishermen and tax collectors inspired by divine revelation, takes on a decidedly different hue when viewed through the lens of the Josephus authorship theory. Instead of divinely inspired apostles, These figures are recast as members of the Piso family circle, their names mere masks concealing their true identities. Proponents of this theory meticulously dissect the Gospels, searching for clues to the author's true identities. They point to inconsistencies in writing style, anachronisms, and subtle references to Roman culture and geography as evidence that the Gospels were not written by the individuals traditionally attributed to them. The Gospel, according to Josephus, recognizing the historian's hand. Beyond the alleged Pisonian connection and the reimagined identities of the Gospel writers, the most compelling evidence for Josephus's authorship, according to proponents of this theory, lies within the text of the New Testament itself. They argue that the Gospels, when read through the lens of Josephus's known works, reveal a common authorial voice, a shared perspective, and a subtle but consistent agenda to promote Roman authority and quell Jewish dissent. They point to the portrayal of Jesus as a pacifist, urging his followers to turn the other cheek and submit to Roman rule as a deliberate attempt to undermine Jewish resistance. Similarly, they argue that the emphasis on Jesus' miracles and resurrection, while superficially aligning with Jewish messianic expectations, served a more insidious purpose: to distract the Jewish populace from their earthly struggles and focus their hopes on a heavenly reward, thereby rendering them politically docile. Imagine holding two mirrors up to each other, reflecting back not just your image, but subtle distortions, echoes of the original, hinting at a deeper connection. This is the essence of the argument for Josephus's authorship: the uncanny parallels between his historical accounts and the narratives woven within the Gospels. Consider Josephus's harrowing account of the siege of Jotapata, his desperate defense of the city against overwhelming Roman might. Then, turn your gaze to the Gospel narratives of Jesus' final days, his arrest, trial and crucifixion at the hands of Roman authorities. Could it be that the Gospel writers, perhaps under Josephus's guidance, deliberately modelled Jesus' passion after Josephus's own experiences, imbuing it with a sense of tragic inevitability, a reminder of the futility of resisting Roman power? Imagine a conquered people, their spirits crushed by the weight of Roman oppression, their hopes for liberation seemingly dashed. Into this environment of despair enters Jesus, preaching a message of love, forgiveness, and non-resistance. A message that on the surface appears to align with the teachings of Jewish prophets, yet carries with it a subtle but powerful subtext: submission to Roman authority. Proponents of the Josephus authorship theory argue that this emphasis on pacifism was a deliberate strategy, a calculated attempt to quell Jewish resistance and solidify Roman control. By promoting a message of non-violence, proponents argue, Josephus, through the Gospels, was effectively disarming the Jewish population, rendering them politically impotent and ensuring their continued subjugation. Imagine a stage magician, his sleight of hand diverting your attention from the hidden mechanisms behind his illusions. Proponents of the Josephus authorship theory argue that miracle stories in the Gospels serve to distract the Jewish populace from their earthly struggles. These tales of healing, exorcism and resurrection shifted focus from earthly struggles to heavenly rewards. Miracles performed in front of large crowds solidified Jesus' image as a divine leader. Proponents argue these miracles were crafted to pacify the Jewish population. Their revolutionary zeal was neutralized by the allure of heavenly rewards. What was the Piso's hidden agendas? Imagine a master puppeteer subtly manipulating his marionettes. He creates the illusion of independent action while remaining hidden. Proponents argue the Gospels functioned as subtle instruments of Roman propaganda. Their narratives advanced the empire's interests while maintaining a Jewish messianic facade. Could Flavius Josephus, the meticulous historian, have secretly authored Christianity's foundational text? He documented the fall of Jerusalem and the scattering of his people. The evidence is circumstantial, woven from intriguing parallels and suggestive clues. The theory involves the Piso family, a powerful Roman clan with ties to Judea. Proponents point to Josephus's knowledge, language mastery, and access to Roman elites. The Josephus theory's place in historical discourse. The Josephus authorship theory remains largely confined to the fringes of historical discourse, viewed with skepticism by mainstream scholars. The lack of direct evidence casts a long shadow of doubt over the entire proposition. Critics argue that the parallels can be explained by the shared cultural and historical context. Josephus, as a Jewish historian writing for a Roman audience, would have been aware of the need to present Jewish history in a palatable way. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I will see you again for more videos.